Here, Leone here. Another day in Los Angeles. I am overcome with my own personal grief and sorrow. The last few days have been extremely rough for me, but I'm not the only one that's suffering. When I see other people suffering, I say I have to put my suffering aside and I have to talk about what matters to them because that should matter to me. And by the way, let's turn on some lights. Ugh. I'm not really doing myself any favors here. There we go. Ugh. I know. I'm not exactly a good looking man. All right. So I'm going to read his statement that he gave on Reddit. So this was from the veterans chat group on Reddit. Papa Son 31. I've got. I'm sorry. I have to read this properly. It's just so sad. It's Papa Son 31. The fight is over. I've gotten a terminal diagnosis. Rather than have my girls watch me deteriorate, I've decided to end it on my own terms. I'm not going to leave a mess and I'm planning accordingly. I don't know if I should let them know about my diagnosis first or not. They aren't exactly rational people, but I don't want them wondering why. Should I let them know first or not? If I do, they will likely not give me any time to myself. And he put a post flare of call for help. Well, I'm here. I'm that help. I'm not trying to be arrogant, but medical science has advanced so much over the past couple of days, past couple of months, past couple of years. Things that we used to say are terminal conditions are actually treatable now. I don't know this specific case of what he has or how far along it is, but the absence of hope offends me. The hopelessness that Papa Son 31 on Reddit is talking about here, it just it offends me on a level because this poor veteran did his military service, he exits, he comes back to this country that doesn't understand the effects of environmental pollution and just the grievances that they levy against the earth. They don't understand the level of food quality in America. In a way, it's not as high as we think. What you put into your body creates your body. And if you put bad things in your body, bad things do happen. Now, this could be a genetic disease that this person has. It could be a lot of things. There are no specifics, but there's also no hope. This person feels, Papa Son 31, that he can't even tell his daughters what's going on in his life. I don't know what caused that level of estrangement, but he has no one to talk to, no one to depend upon, no one to be there for him. So he turns to the internet for solace, for guidance. So of course, being me, I send a message of there's always medical research. You have to try and stay strong. Even with a terminal diagnosis, you have to do a mixture of accept your presence, accept what is going on in your life, but then also, in a way, sometimes fight. Fight for every day fight for your right to wake up every day and greet what is going on. You have to face it. I mean, this person's talking about suicide, and I'm aghast. I'm absolutely aghast. So I decide to send him the change.org that I put in the description here. It is You Can Survive Cancer. It's this program I'm trying to start up where I go to NVIDIA, Apple, and ask for a civil collaboration between myself as a scientist and these two major companies, because what I want to do is design an app specifically to collect and track medical data for people who opt into this program. Like, why would you collect medical data? Because when you go to the doctor and you say, oh, I feel off, or I feel sick, or I have pain, all they can do is treat the symptom because they don't know you. They never want to know you. They see you, they see tons of people, they don't know your name sometimes. But you go to them and say, heal me, physician, heal me. But they don't know how. They can, do a pie chart or and say, well, there's a 20% chance it's this or it's a 30% chance it's that. They can just give you odds, but they cannot tell because they don't have all the data. They're not there with you. So I'd like to change that. I'd like to ask NVIDIA to generously donate a server for me and Apple to allow me to use its device to journal and gather medical data so that people can take control of their lives again, take control of their own health. Because when you come to the doctor and say, I've lost 20 pounds mysteriously, the doctor never says, because it would be so rude. But I'm that person and I'm not a doctor, so I can be that rude. Who says, when you lost 5 pounds, when you lost 10 pounds, why didn't you come in? When you went to brush your hair and a whole clump of it came off in your hand, you didn't come in. When you sneezed or coughed and blood came out your nose, you didn't come in. People are, I want to say, sometimes afraid of doctors or they're nervous around them. It's that white coat syndrome of, well, if you see a doctor, that means that there's something really wrong, instead of when you see a doctor, it should be sometimes the validation of you're doing everything right. Keep doing that. There's a lot of talk about presidents and people doing midterm elections or whatever nonsense. I don't fucking care. I care about public health. I leave, the people who need a chair to tell them how to lead their people, guide them toward a better way, to that device. Sit in your chair and push numbers around. I'm going to speak to the heart of the issue. We need to redesign a lot of things. We need to redesign hospitals because people see them as that's where babies come from, and that's where old people go to die. They don't think of it as Why don't you just check yourself? Why don't you just make sure everything's okay? If everything's okay, great. You're going to get that validation and you're going to say, you know what? I'm good right now. I'm good. I can go back to whatever I was doing, go back to work, go back to shopping, go back to bed. I don't know. But you would know. You wouldn't have something hovering over your head. So, what if we changed what a hospital is? Instead of waiting rooms and hospital beds, what if it was couches, lounges, coffee shops? Expand what you think medicine is, and you'll see what medicine truly is. There was a very clever company that somewhat copyrighted the phrase that food is medicine for their logo. And I hold that to be true. What you put in your body determines your health. What you put in your body determines the longevity of your life, the quality of your life. I started this petition because I said, I have to destigmatize medicine to the average American. I have to destigmatize being aware and conscious, present in your own body, taking responsibility for your nutrition, your energy, your hydration level, and being able to take that information, secure it, secure it, but also present it to your doctor and say, this is everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. People think checking your glucose level is for diabetics alone. People think checking your blood pressure is for people who've had previous heart conditions. They don't understand that everything you do is cumulative, it adds up. I have my PTSD from military sexual trauma, so going to medical school is closed off at this moment because I haven't had a single moment to myself to say, can I just sit down, study, take the test, be in a safe place without drama or nonsense? And I don't know who's in charge of the drama and nonsense on this West Coast that these people just can't leave me be so I can save people. And I know that just like Papa San 31, you know, you want to say the fight is over because it's just so damn difficult. I just can't accept that. I will not accept that. When someone says the fight is over, that should also mean you let someone fight for you. You let someone carry this burden that you hold on to yourself. I left the entire comment here, and I really should have added the direct Reddit link because when I added the change.org link, because I said this is a situation that affects not just Papa San 31, but several veterans. Several veterans go through go through life feeling alone and abandoned. Of course, you have abandonment issues. You're no longer in the military. The military is the closest that any person can ever come to true community. It's sad but true. You live in a city, you live in a town, those people are strangers. You live in the military, you come to the realization that it is us and then there's them. And the them can vary according to political whims, but that us, that community, it is very powerful indeed. My military experience, they tried. They tried. I was there. They tried everything. Could you sit with them? Can you talk to them? And I tried, but they would only pair me with just bloodthirsty Americans. The one guy I tried to, say, hey, I guess we're going to be going in the same direction. We can have a conversation. And he just wanted to talk about, I just want to hurt things. I'm like, well, I didn't tell him this because, sometimes you need people who think this way. But you don't join the military just because you want to hurt people. You join the military because you want to protect. You want to serve with honor. Not everything that you do in the military is honorable. I understand that on some level, but there should be a strive for excellence attitude. So now Papa San 31 is out. He is injured. Where is his support? Hmm? Where is his support that Papa San 31 has to go on Reddit crying out for help? Where is his former unit? Where is his former CO? Where is his town? Where any Americans to be there in his time of need? The Department of Veteran Affairs, they might give you some money. They might. But they're not giving you proper health care. They're not giving you community in some cases. I suppose, in a way, by talking about his current suicidal ideation, that he is utilizing the community, but it's not the same. It's not the same exact thing as having a dedicated physical team localized to help veterans. This is why I'm upset, because I'm trying my hardest to find a piece of the United States that doesn't suck so hard, so that maybe I could establish better care for my fellow veterans. I kind of dislike that the attitude that the Department of Veteran Affairs instills in people by denying them the veteran benefits, by making them go through so many hoops just to get the smallest amount of money. I dislike it because it creates this attitude of, well, fine, when I get my benefits, I'll just take care of myself. I'll build my house, I'll build my bunker, I'll hunker down, and that's that. They don't encourage veterans to, no, no, you can take care of yourself now. Would you like to help out other veterans? Maybe, just maybe, by helping other veterans, you help yourself. You have a reason, a purpose. And even better, you have respect for yourself, respect for how far you've come and how far maybe some other people have to go. I was informed by the veteran mod team that by putting a link to a medical research proposal, that was political. So they banned me from speaking to the veterans through that channel. And it's it was just the wrong channel then. Veterans need to know that there is a resource. Veterans need to know that there is hope and support. And if they're not getting it from the VA, then there needs to be another program. And I have already started several programs, but I haven't been able to take care of myself. And there's that attitude yet again of, and I understand I'm guilty of it too. Psychologically, you could always say survivor's guilt of you are moving out of whatever dangerous situation that you're in and you're still alive, you're still going, you're still doing whatever. But maybe it's also, I just wasn't raised to ignore other people in pain, in other people in distress. Unfortunately, with my current PTSD and my situation, I cannot be that empathetic person that I am because number one, people take advantage of that. And two, I'm not in a position to render as much aid as I would like to. I'd like to start more soup kitchens. I'd like to start more housing programs. I want to actually go to the local city council and tell them that the idea of shelters is fundamentally wrong. It actually ruins your health. You take humans that are already malnourished and you put them in an enclosed space like a kennel. And then the hopelessness, the despair just eats them alive. We need an alternative. We need better alternatives. And I'd like to do that. I'd like to do that with perhaps some food for myself because I'm currently without food. I'm currently homeless. And I have such PTSD that is so easily triggered by these people who I almost want to say exhaust me on purpose so that I just get into my head, people aren't worth it. People hurt you. They're not worth your mercy, your grace, your empathy. I refuse to think in that kind of destructive way. I think when we engage in things like charity and simple acts of kindness, that you make the world a better place. While everyone is talking about war, I'm not exactly talking about peace, but maybe unity isn't a bad thing. Maybe unity is just being there for someone. And no, I suppose I did not handle that conversation to the best of my ability. I do hope I put a little crack in that wall that this person put up because a doctor said it's the end of the road. Sometimes, yeah, you got to put a sledgehammer to it. I am biased. I think veteran lives are important. I think just because you no longer wear the uniform, you still have value to the community. You still have leadership skills. You still have a long, enduring motivation to protect the American people. And yes, I do say fuck America a lot. I have every right to, after everything I've experienced. But is it all of America? Is it every American? It's easy to say so, but it's not really so. And even with all the pain and the suffering that they inflict upon me, doesn't it seem more like a cry for help? I have yet to publish the video of that woman who came up to me at the transit center. I have my PTSD and it's from military sexual trauma, so I could only deal with it with the way that I did. But on another level, it was, do you need help? How may I render assistance to you? I wish for a second that my PTSD was somewhat manageable, was reasonable, that I could see the humanity in other people instead of just monsters, irksome monsters. Did she curse at me? Did she, do anything inappropriate? No, she tried to talk to me. But I have PTSD and, well, should I feel bad about being rude? Yes and no. Yes and no. Sometimes it's good to be rude. Sometimes it's good. But you shouldn't strive to be rude every single time. You should always think of another way. I hope Papa Son 31 finds the courage to talk to his daughters and tell them what's been going on so he doesn't go through all these feelings alone. I mean, that's just sad. I'm dealing with homelessness, poverty, and I do that by myself because I'm an indigenous person. So for me, poverty is just a way to remove a colonist brainwashing that happiness comes from wealth instead of happiness comes from community. Who sleeps better, the poor person who gets a free meal and lives in a place with a security guard and staff at all times, or the rich man living in a castle, having to monitor every single camera, higher security, highest, mobile security, and just security, 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 security. That's a stressful life. And the riches obviously belong to that person. I'm not about devaluing, wealth. Wealth has a purpose. It does. It inspires people in several ways. There's just got to be more to life than wanting to be rich or famous or anything like that. I'm a musician, but I do it for my art therapy. I do it because there is music that is art, which is mathematically based. And when you finish this art piece, it is sublime. It is absolutely sublime. I talk a lot about veterans, but the idea that medicine in America has to pivot, not improve. Medicine has to pivot in America because what we think about how we run our lives is wrong. We think there is a minimum acceptable amount that is okay for you to pay for nourishment. Can everyone afford $50, $100 meals? No. Does everyone need 50 to $100 meals? Perhaps. But either way, I will talk to you another time. Have a good day. My name is Ian Iliona, Mutant Werewolf. I will see you on the next podcast.